नारायणं नमस्कृत्य नरं चैव नरोत्तमं देवीं सरस्वतीं व्यासं ततो जयमुदीरयेत्. Reading from Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 9, Chapter 14, verse number 33. So we've been reading the story of King Pururava and how he got the association of Urvashi, and then Urvashi left, and this made king very sad, unhappy. So how much you are attached to something, that you understand only when you are separated from that object. When the object or the person is with you, you may not know how deeply you are attached or not attached. So when there is a separation, then you come to know about it, how you feel. Sometimes the separation can be only in the mind, as in case of Arjuna. Because Arjuna was not separated from his relatives, but he was only feeling the separation, and therefore he became so sad and he was grieving. So this king Pururava was very much grieving because he was so attached to Urvashi. And attachment is such a thing that it completely covers your intelligence, or your intelligence becomes influenced by it, that you cannot think independent of attachment. So that's how we see the world, that's how we understand things, on the basis of our attachment, which also implies enmity or hatred, dislike. So our whole world is on the basis of these two principles of raga and dvesha. That's how we perceive things. So that's why Krishna keeps on telling Arjuna, especially in second chapter, to go beyond this. Because of attachment, he was not able to see the reality. Same Pururava, he is a king, but because of his deep attachment, he cannot see. He forgot about his kingdom, his duties, responsibilities. There must be some other family members, ministers, subjects. He is disregarding everything because he is totally focused on Urvashi. So mind is like that. So we read that how he was wandering over earth. So Tachitto, so his mind was fully focused on her. So Krishna says, Machitta Sattam Bhava. Always focus your mind on me, or be Machitta. And here it is said Tachitta. Pururava was completely focused on Urvashi. So if you could focus like this on Krishna, then he becomes very great. Because this focus is actually for his own pleasure, not for Urvashi. And Vivala, therefore he is very much disturbed, agitated. And Shochan, he is grieving. Babhrama Unmatta Vanmahim. So he wandered like a mad fellow over the earth. So means he did not take care of his kingdom. So then after some time, Urvashi came to earth because she was also attached to him. So she somehow got some free time and she came with her friends. So therefore it is said here that Satam Viksha Kurukshetre Saraswatyam cha tatsakhihi Pancha Prahrashtavadnaha Praha Suktam Pururavaha. So he saw her in Kurukshetra. So where is Prayag and where is Kurukshetra? It is at least few hundred miles away. So that means he was wandering, really like crazy person. So on the bank of Saraswati river in Kurukshetra, because at that time Saraswati was flowing from this part of country. Now they actually have found the lost Saraswati underneath. And there's a lot of excavations, and they have found many old cities recently. So Tatsakhihi Pancha Prahastvadna. So she was not alone but also with 5 of her friends. She did not come alone. So then by seeing her he was very happy, and then he sang a song. So Praha Suktam Pururava. So this is in the Vedas. So the story of Pururava is a famous story. So some of this is given by the commentators, which is related with these words. But if you go to 26th chapter of 11th canto, then Krishna also describes there. It is the song of Pururava. This is Ayala Uvacha. So there that description there is when he comes to his senses and he realizes that how much he has been put into delusion because of this attachment. So it's very interesting. Ahome moha vistara kama kasmala chetsa devya grihit kantasya nayu khandai me smrita. So he is understanding how much he was influenced by this lust for Urvashi. So this is also referred to this place. So this sukta can refer to this or also what is in the Vedas. So he says that Aho jaye tishta tishta ghore ne taktumarhasi mam tvamadyapi nirvritya vachansi Krishna krinvavahi. So he said that, oh my wife, stay, oh cruel one, don't leave me like this. Don't go away, don't abandon me. Mam tvam adyapi anirvritya, because I am not satisfied yet, and therefore let us sit down and talk together. Vachansi krinvavahi. So adyapi anirvritya na nivritva nirvita bhutva maddattam nirvritim aprapya mam tyaktum narhasi. So this is what Vishwanath says, that do not go away without satisfying me. I am still not satisfied with your association, and therefore it is not appropriate for you to go away like this. Anirvartya iti pathe mam nisheshena avartitva ajivitva ityartha. There is a difference in reading. Instead of anirvritya, it is also anarvritva or anarvartya, which he says that without giving me life. Yadi va takshasi tadapi kshanam tavad vachansi kranvavahi goshtim karvavahi. And even if you do not want to stay with me, you want to go away, that's fine, I cannot force you. But even then, at least stay for a short period and let's meet and talk. I've seen you after a long time, so don't just run away like this. Sudehoyam patati atra devi duram hritastvaya khadati enam vrika gridhra tvat prasadasya naspadam. So he says that I have this beautiful body, so you have gone away, therefore now this body will fall down. And it will be the food for the wolves and vultures. And in this way, it will not become the object of your grace. So, he is implying that you should not be so cruel that, look, I have a beautiful body, but without you the body cannot survive, and therefore do not abandon me like this. And if you do that, then I am finished and this body will be eaten by wolves at night and vultures in the daytime. There is a nice dialogue in Mahabharata, very interesting, between vultures, not between vultures, but between the relatives of a boy who died and jackals. There was a boy who died and the relatives brought him to the cremation place in the forest, and then they want to leave. So the vultures are there, so jackals are convincing them, how can you leave? This is your so lovely boy and you are so cruel, stay for some time. Because jackals, they want that it becomes night, then the vultures will go away and then we will eat. And then the vultures are giving advice, says, what is the point in wasting time here? He is dead, so he is saying, you go away so that we can eat. So it's interesting how the two sides are trying to convince or persuade them to stay or not stay. And both have their logic. So this is how the mind works. When you are attached to something, then you devise, then your buddhi will function to fulfill that attachment. And buddhi becomes the slave of minds, and then it acts to fulfill the wish, the desire of the mind. So you hear vulture's argument and jackal's argument. So vultures are speaking philosophically, right? Therefore vultures are also considered as sign of intelligence. Is the national bird of America, what is it? Eagle. Eagle is considered as intelligence. Sometimes vultures also. They are wise people. So they are speaking, because they are speaking from the Atma point of view, that forget this body, why are you hanging here? There is nobody, his body is just piece of earth, go. And the jackals speak from the body point of view, attachment to body, because they don't want that they leave so quickly. So here he is saying that khadati enam vrika gridhra tvat prasadasya naspadam. So if this body is not the aspada, the object of your prasada, your grace, your mercy, then this is what will happen to it. So do you want that? Sometimes people, they force other person by threatening of giving up their own life. If you leave me, I will commit suicide. So one boy had proposed to the girl to marry, the girl refused. So the boy said that, I want to marry you. And the girl said, no, I don't want to marry you. So boy was very sad, and he was saying, without you I cannot live. So the girl said, so if I don't marry you, will you commit suicide? So he said, yes, that has been my practice in the past. So therefore he's saying that, do you want, that's what he's saying, do you want that my body be eaten by vultures and wolves? In the daytime the vultures will eat, at night the jackals will, and the wolves will feast on it. Do you really like that? So obviously he thinks that Urvashi would be not so harsh and so cruel that he will say, yes, I don't care. So that is the implied sense of his words. He's trying to touch the soft corner of Urvashi's heart. So Urvashi, she speaks. What she speaks is little bit problematic. So on the 35th verse, Sri Vishnu Chakravarti doesn't comment much. It says, Pashyantya tasya dayam utpadeti sudeheti. So when he met her, and Urvashi was looking at her, but she was not completely, falling for her. So to incite compassion in her heart, he speaks this verse, Sudeha. Look, this beautiful body. You want that this body is eaten up by wolves? So Urvashi speaks. So Mamritha. So these words, if you see here, some of these words here, Krinvavahi, Mritha, these are like the Vedic Sanskrit words. This is not Lokik, because he said Suktam, so it indicates some of these words. So in the Vedas they have been used like that. Mamritha purushosi tvam masme tvadyurvakai me tva adyurvakai me Kwapi sakhyam ne vaistrinam vrikanam hridayam yatha. So she says, come on, don't die. You are a man, so be a little brave. Don't be so emotional. Being man means don't be so emotional. It is women who are supposed to be more emotional than men. So he says, Purushoasi tvam, you are a man, masvayam tva adyur vrikaime. Says, not that these wolves will eat you. That's not proper. And let me tell you, Kwapi sakhyam nevaistrinam vrikanam hridayam yatha. Don't make friendship with women, because women are very cruel. They are as cruel as wolves. they will just eat you up. So don't think I'm your friend, I'm a wolf. So ma mritha na mriyashva, don't die, purushositi, napunshak lakshanam adharyam tyaja. So give up this impatience which does not belong to men. Ime vrika iti vrika khalu na vrika, kintu indriyani eva vrika. Durvara says that it is not the wolves are wolves, but the senses are wolves. So they are the one which are eating you up. It is your senses. If you can control your senses, if you can become Jitendriya, master of your senses, then you will not talk like this. So she is now being Pururava's guru, trying to wake him up. And Tvam masma adyuhu bhakshayu. Let these wolves or the senses not eat you up. So if we are not in control of our senses, then the senses destroy us. We think that we are enjoying, but in the process we get enjoyed, like King Bhartri said. So, bhogana bhukta vayam eva bhukta. It is not that we have enjoyed sense objects. The sense objects have enjoyed us. Because in the process, it is you who lose your life, your energy. So who is enjoying? You think you are enjoying? No. So it says, bhogana bhukta vayam eva bhukta. So therefore it says that don't give in to your senses. Ajitendriya ma bhurityartha. The meaning is that don't be ajitendriya. So as Krishna says, indriyani paranyahu, indriyabhya param mane, mansastu para buddhi, yo buddhe partastu sa. So mind is superior to the senses. So you should control the senses with the help of mind. And then he says, but mind itself is not in control. So how to control that? He says, for that you have to use your buddhi. So that is the important. Buddhya yukta yaya partha karma bandham prahasyasi. Buddhi buddhimatam asmi. So Krishna says that with the help of buddhi you can become free from the bondage of karma. So you may say, well, everybody has buddhi or intelligence and everybody is using it. So we are using it, but we are using it for the wrong purpose. That is to satisfy our senses and the mind. So if buddhi becomes subjugated by the mind and senses, then the purpose of human life is lost. Then human beings become just like animals. Because animals are also under the control of their senses primarily. But in a way they are better because they do not go out of their own nature. So human beings, when they are not controlling their mind and senses, they actually become worse than animals. Because animals have their limit of their sense pleasure, whatever sense pleasure they have, it's very limited. But human beings have no limit. There is no end. The end is only because the body does not cooperate or the senses do not cooperate. Otherwise they don't stop. So therefore she is telling him that don't be Ajitendriya. So this criticism which she is going to talk here about women, it should not be taken that she is speaking for all women. First of all, it is not that she is an authority. Secondly, she is speaking with an intention to disenchant him from herself. And therefore, instead of saying that I am like this, I am like that, she is saying the women are like that. So, man or women, that does not make any difference. If a man is attached to woman, then he is in trouble, and woman is attached to man, then man is also same situation for her. So the problem here is not with men or women, but with the attachment. And that attachment is what creates problem. And she is speaking this to make him unattached. That's the point. So many times in Shastra, when some criticism is given, just like Krishna is speaking 15 defects of wealth to Uddhava. So does it mean that now we should completely not touch wealth or make no effort? No, the problem is not with the wealth but with attachment to it. So the idea is not to be attached, not make wealth itself as the goal of life. So similarly, Urvashi, so then what happens that you try to describe that object in a negative manner so that you become disenchanted with it. So the intention is not to criticize wealth or criticize women here. Nahi ninda nindaitum pravartate apitu prakritim stotum. It's the principle of Mimamsa, that in such instances the criticism is not meant for criticism's sake, but to establish something else. So the intention, the tatparya, you have to understand what is the tatparya of the speaker, what is the intention of the speaker is very important. What is that speaker intending to say, not just the statement and take the meaning of the statement and misunderstand them, but what does she actually intend by this? So the intention is to say that do not be attached to women if you are a man, and vice versa, if you are women, then don't be attached, because attachment is the cause of the trouble. This is what Krishna says, Kamesha krodhesha rajogun samudbhava. So say that this is the enemy, and that has to be Jai Satrum Mahabaho Kama Rupam Durasadam. This is the enemy. Vidhyenam iha vairinam. Twice he says that this is the enemy. So this kama or this attachment, kama here means raga. So sometimes the word kama is used for raga. Sometimes the word kama is used for desire. Sometimes the word kama is used for the objects of desire. So we have to see the context. So it is the attachment, the raga, which is the problem. And along with raga is dvesha. So this raga or this kama, this is what eats you up, mahasano mahapapma. And that's what Urvashi is also saying, that it is the uncontrolled senses, which means your attachment to sense pleasure, those are the wolves, not the actual wolves. Those wolves you can fight, you are a hero, you have a sword in your hand, you can chase them away, but These are enemies which are situated inside you. So, man, buddhi, indriya, these are the adhisthana. These are the sitting places, adhishthanam. So they are right inside you. This kama is sitting inside. So that is what you have to deal with. The external enemies are visible and you can make some plan how to fight with them. But what about the internal ones which are not visible to you and you don't look at them, you are not aware of them, and you may think you do not have them, but they are there. And they come and do what is called surgical strike. So they come and they strike and they go back. Right? So when they find the opportune moment, they come out, they strike you, and they go back. So you carry them within you, the enemies are with you all the time. Wherever you go, they go with you. Even when you sleep at night, you think you are alone, they are sleeping with you, inside you. They can strike even in the dreams. So these are the vrikas. So vrika also is a type of fire. Bhima has that. Therefore he is called Vrikodara. So this is, vrika means wolves, it is also a type of fire. So that is the vrika which burns. Right? So that raga, that kama, that burns. Na jato kam kama nam upabhoge na shamyati havishavartmaiva punareva vivardhate. So it is compared to fire. So that fire is burning and you try to give it sense object. The senses are like fiery and you try to give them sense object, that is like pouring ghee into it, so it burns more. So analena cha, Krishna says that it is like fire, burns like fire. So this is the vrika, which burns, which consumes. So everybody gets consumed. That is the meaning bhogana bhukta vayameva bhukta. So then gradually our life is consumed by these things. So this is what she means that you should. This is what she means that women are like vrika. So strinam vrikanam hridayam yatha. So she says that the heart of women is like the wolf's heart, dangerous. So stay away. Okay. Swastriya hiya karuna krura durmarshaha priyasahasaha ghanantyalparthepi vishrabdham patim bhratram apyuta. So dangerous sloka. So she says that women are akaruna, they are not compassionate, they are krura, they are cruel. So in Sanskrit you have krura, in English you have krula, ralyor, dalyor, akyam. Right? In Sanskrit ra and la, r and l are exchangeable. So cruel, you change L into R, it becomes cruel. So Krura, cruel, Durmarsha, they are very intolerant. If you insult, if you don't satisfy their need, then you are in trouble. And Priya Sahasa. So people think that women are timid. Says no, they are Priya Sahasa. So for their love or lover's sake, they can go up to any extent. They can be very bold. How? Says they can even kill their own husband or brother or even their own child. Vishrabdham, husband who is very faithful, they can kill her if they are having love affair with another man.
Brother is mentioned?
Yes.
Why is it mentioned?
If he creates trouble, get rid of him. Suppose he is not married. Pati means married, and then she is having a lover, and husband is an obstacle. So then get rid of him. And brother means he is not married yet. She is still the family, father's family. So then brother may be an obstacle because she brings the boyfriend home and brother doesn't like that. So then get rid of brother. So you hear all these stories all the time, this type of story, right? So many stories all over the world. And it is both ways. There are also stories where the man gets his wife killed because he is having an affair with another woman, so he wants to get rid of her. So they will make some excuse. And then suddenly hear that she died or he died. So it is applicable to both ways. It's not, it is because Urvashi is speaking about women. It's also applicable for men. So when you are attached, deeply attached, then this is what happens. So when Arjuna was manifesting his attachment, then it is said that Kripaya Paryavishtam, that he was overpowered by Kripa, right? But equally overpowered by cruelty also. Because it has the other side. If you are deeply attached to somebody, then towards that person you will be very gracious, loving, kind, and anyone else who wants also to share that, then you will be very cruel to that person. You will not allow. So that's where all the time you have these triangle stories. Right? Every love story has the triangle. Otherwise there is no story. The standard pattern. There is a girl, there is a boy. Then the other boy loves also the girl, then the two of them are contending. So then one has to win and one has to be removed. So that is the struggle. So this is the meaning. So this Akaruna, Krura, Durmarsha, Priya Sahasa, all these things manifest. So for the sake of one's attachment, one will manifest all these qualities. You can become very bold, can become very cruel, intolerant, and you can even kill somebody. Somebody means whoever is putting an obstacle. You get rid of that. यत्र त्वं विश्रभ्य दुर्लभं मानुष्यं विफलयसि तासाम अस्माकं स्त्रीजातीनां स्वभावं शृणु इत्याह स्त्रिय इति. So he says that you have this human body which is very rare. Durlabho manaso deho dehinam kshanabhangura tatrapi durlabham manye vaikuntha priya darshanam. So human form is very rare and it is temporary. It can collapse in a second. Kshanabhangura. And more rare than human body is association with a devotee. So after attaining human form, after getting the association of a devotee, if still one wastes his or her time in just sense pleasures, then that is most unfortunate. So therefore she is saying that Tvam Vishrabhya Durlabham Manusham Vifalasitasam. Says that you are putting so much trust in me and therefore you are wasting your human life. So to indicate this, she speaks of the nature of women in this verse. In 2 slokas. Durmarsha aparadha asahishnava. So Durmarsha means who are intolerant of any offense towards them, and priyartham adharmadav api sahasam yasamta. So for their object of attachment, even something adharmic, they can be very bold and adventurous. So therefore she says, don't fix your mind on me, better control your mind. And then one more sloka. So vidhaya lika vishrambham agyesu tyakta saurhida navam navam abhipshantya punshalya swairvrittayaha. So he says that these characteristics are actually primarily described for women who are punshali, means who are not of good character. It is about those women. Although she speaks to be in general, but really speaking, it is not for all women in general, but only women who are only after enjoying their body and nothing else, who are just interested in enjoying their body, especially the pleasure of association with for sexual purpose. So those are called punshali, and they are called swairvrittaya. So they are very frivolous in their behavior. Swairvritti means frivolous, not controlled by any dharmic principle or any moral principle or ethics. They can do anything. So therefore they say that navam navam abhipshanti. They are always desiring new and new person or lover. They don't stick to one person, but they always want some new person. And therefore vidhaya alika vishrambham agyesu takta sahrida. So those people who are ignorant, who do not understand their nature, to them they give a false sense of trust, because they just want to enjoy with them. So this is what men also do. They want to enjoy with a woman, then they will show love verbally towards her. So this is called Vidhaya Alika Vishrambha. That's as if I am very faithful to you, I am fully devoted to you, these types of statements, I love you. So this is called false, giving false trust. Not that you really think like that, but you speak. And agyasu, people who are agya, ignorant, or you can say who are innocent, who are not experienced. So then they believe it. And then the other person exploits. So tyakta sohrida, they do not have any love or affection in their heart, but they make a show of it. So this is what goes on in the society, especially at present, that people are very self-centered, they are very selfish, and for that they can make a show of love for short period, maybe just one night, and then they move on. So he says, how can you trust people like this? But still people trust, and then they suffer from that. So he says, therefore, do not put trust. So she is painting all this negative picture of women so that he becomes disenchanted with her. That's the whole idea. Because that's when you are attached to something, then you start speaking about its bad qualities. If you like chocolate, all you have to say, well, chocolate contains cockroaches in it. Right? That is the end of chocolate. Every time you get a chocolate, you are thinking of cockroach. Now, no one really knows whether it's true or false, right? Maybe somebody got upset with the chocolate company, and then he writes and makes a video. Who knows what this video is actually true or not? Can you believe that these companies who are making it?
It was true, Babaji, because it was announced.
Okay, let's hear your argument.
It was because it was on a nationwide TV in evening news by NBC.
So what?
Churches and federal government granted them the commission to allow certain percentage.
But how do you know that NBC is telling the truth?
Well, that's any newspaper like that. You have to take something as a praman, huh?
That's exactly what I'm saying. That you're taking it. What if I say that I don't take it from one and I eat chocolate?
If you don't take it, you can still eat the chocolate.
Yeah, that's exactly what I'm saying. Maybe the guy just wants you not to eat chocolate, like Urvashi is saying. He wants to wean you away from chocolate, because chocolate companies must have upset NBC or whoever. So they say that, okay, this is what we are going to do. And media has the power. They make a statement, but once they make a statement, afterwards you can try to refute it. It is already gone. People already heard it.
Yeah, that's what they did with the Cadbury company also.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was so big that there somebody was eating and something came up with it. And then I think he asked money from Cadbury company and they refused to give him, And then he went publicly and put it in the paper that the company is this, it had such a bad name for some time, and then people stopped buying, and then they put Amitabh Bachchan in the ad, and everything was wiped out. Everybody started having chocolate again, and Cadbury was again up.
So that's what I'm saying. So don't take the cockroach story so so literally. Maybe somebody has, not all of them. Have what is that? Have a benefit of doubt. Right? Sometimes you have to have benefit. Anyway, I'm not saying that you should eat chocolate, but this is how things work. Just like what Urvashi is saying here, somebody can quote this, look, Bhagavatam says women are like this. People, that's what people do.
They'll speak up and then.
They will take out these two slokas. Striyo hi akaruna krura durmarsa priya sahasa ghananti alparthapi vishrabdham pati bhratram apavitra. This is in Bhagavatam. So immediately. So when you want to prove something, that's what you do. That's what people do generally. So this is a practical application in life. That's what I said, that maybe chocolate is like that. So we have to study the whole thing. We have to understand what is the context going on here. Because if we don't know the context is that she has left him and she doesn't want to be with him anymore. But she also feels some soft heart for him after they lived together, and she sees him suffering. So this is what she is trying to do. She is actually trying to help him, although in the process she has to bash the whole women community. But if this serves the purpose, why not?
Babaji, I just wanted to give some input that if you eat spinach, if you eat bread, if you eat fruits, if you eat vegetables, you're eating aphids. There's all kinds of bugs in all kinds of things that we are not mercifully aware of.
You are eating what?
So, I mean, when we get vegetables, leafy vegetables, for example, or wheat, there are always tiny bugs that unavoidably get into.
Tinies are okay, they should not be cockroach. According to Manusmriti, that if you can have some 10,000 bugs which can be handful, then it's not a sin.
Babaji, I heard that. According to Ayurveda, I don't know how far it's true.
Otherwise, you are saying now we should not eat all the leafy vegetables.
Basically, leafy vegetables, fruits, lots of things we'll have to stop eating.
Okay.
It have to be perfectly non-violent.
So we should only drink water.
Actually, my Ayurvedic doctor was saying that a piece of chocolate, even if it's 100 grams, it takes 3 hours to digest. I don't know if it's true because you studied Ayurveda, you know better.
3 hours?
To digest.
Well, generally every food takes 3 hours minimum.
He said 1 piece of chocolate. It's very heavy on the system.
Because body doesn't digest immediately. There's a whole process, Therefore, Ayurveda said that you should not eat anything before 3 hours of your meal. They say 3 hours and should not delay more than 6. So that's Ayurveda injunction. Of course, it varies from person to person. But 3 hours is probably matching with what you are saying. So it's not only chocolate. Okay, any commentary on this? So, prabodhitum ashakyam pune santave, no. So that's all, there's no commentary on this. So after that she says, samvatsarante hi bhavan ek ratram mayeshwara vatsya patyani chate bhavishyanti aparani bho. They said that I will meet you one day in a year. So once a year I will meet you at night, and you will have more children from me. So because later on it will be said in the next chapter that he got 6 children from her. So that means she would come, get pregnant and go away. And then she will come with the baby. And now also she came with a child. Because when she left she was pregnant. So she carried the baby and came to give the baby to him. So that was not very clearly described here, but it is understood. Because she says that Vatsyati apatyani chate bhavishyanti aparani bhai, that you will have further children from me. So that means she must have, okay, in the next verse says that she is pregnant. Means I am already carrying your child and you will have more children from me. So this is their meeting, and we'll stop. Actually, it is very interesting, a little bit also difficult to understand, because this Pururava is famous person even in the Vedas, and he will be the person who starts the yajna. So this will come. So when you read the story, he seems like a person who is completely just after material pleasure. But he seems to be the father of Karma Kanda also. So any question on this?
Babaji Maharaj, I had two questions. Firstly, like Urvashi said that she was moving around with 5 companions. Is there any significance of these 5 companions?
I don't think so. It's just that she did not want to come alone. Just came with other girls.
Is it some 5 senses or something like that?
Well, I did not think like that, but if you want to make out that, no problem.
And the second question was that, as we understand from today's class, that attachment is the root of all problems in our life. So if we want to really introspect within ourselves and look deep within ourselves, how can we find out as to what we are attached to? Something which keeps engrossing our mind constantly.
Yes, whatever you are attached to, that's where your mind goes. Mind has this characteristic that it likes to think of things which it is attracted to or attached to, or which things are favorable to it. So those are the things to which it runs or thinks of. So therefore you have to just do introspection of your thoughts, then you will know. You sit down and do japa. I think that's the best way to figure it out, and then see where your mind is going.
Babaji, is the nature of the mind binary in the sense that it's either attached to material things or it's attached to spiritual things, or is there like a hybrid permutation where it can be attached both to spiritual and material?
Well, both are not possible. Varuni diggatam vastu katham endriyam. What is that? Upani apnuyat. So if something is in the west, how you will find it in the east, and vice versa. So Vishyavisht Chittasya Krishna Bhakti Sudurataha. When your mind is Vishyavisht, attached to Vishya, to material sense pleasure, then Krishna Bhakti is very far away. And other way around, you know also that Janeti Ashu Vairagyam Jnanam Cheda Hetukam. So if you perform bhakti, then it gives you an attachment or detachment to sense objects. So these two things don't go together.
So Babaji, during the sadhana stage, it means that one is still attached to material things, or how is the sadhana stage classified?
So sadhana means you are trying to move from material to spiritual. But if you become spiritual, then you are not material. When you are material, you are not spiritual. So sadhana is the twilight zone in the sign. Sandhi. Yes. Mike Dana, Prashant.
So you have given like a proportion that when there is a deep attachment, then there is also equal cruelty, in the sense that to remove the obstacle in possessing that particular object, then we display same intensity of cruelty. So even up to killing the brother and whatever represents the obstacle.
Yes. So that's what Prahlad Maharaj says, Harao bhaktasya kuto mahad guna. So when one is not devoted to Krishna, then where are the good qualities? So even those good qualities are having the dark side to it.
Mm-hmm. So they come together basically.
Yeah. Okay. Yes.
When you were speaking about Rag and Dvesh, you mentioned a verse that ended in this phrase Purna eva vivardate, something like that. I couldn't catch the whole verse.
This is also from Bhagavatam, it will come soon. न जातु काम कामा नाम उपभोगेन साम्यति हविषा वर्ममेव पुनैरेव वर्धते. It comes in the story of Yayati. It's also there in Manusmriti. Havisha Krishna Vartameva Bhuveva Bhivardhate. I think Manusmriti says Punaiva Vardhate here. So na jatu kama kama nam upabhogen shamyati havisha Krishna Vartameva Bhuveva Bhivardhate. That is another interesting story, similar to Pururava, Yayati.
So my favorite question is always, could you maybe explain the meaning of the name of Pururava and Urvashi?
Well, Urvashi I already told you. Puru and Rava. Rava means sound and Puru means big, great. Puruhuta, Purukarma, Purukarma. So Puru means many, big, repetition. That's what Puru. And Rava means sound. So literally it can mean big sound or something which is repeated. Or somebody who is praised. And you can give meaning once you have the meaning of the word.
Babaji Maharaj,
Kya?
I had one more question in my mind. Actually, it is for tomorrow's class, but that is very just 1 hour, so we don't get time to ask question in that. So you said that karma should be as per dharma. But then in normal society we find that dharma is one track and karma is a separate track. So how can karma be within dharma? Even Krishna is saying dharma viruddha
Bhutasmi.
Kamosmi. So I mean to say Kama is always looking like, say, drinking, enjoying, golfing, etc., whatever. So there is hardly any dharma in that.
So that is dharma viruddha kama. That's why Krishna says. That's why he says dharma viruddha kamosmi bhartarshava. Dharma viruddha bhuteshu kamosmi. So that from Krishna's statement it comes that there is a kama which is opposite to dharma and there is kama which is not opposite to dharma. So anything can have two sides to it. You have your senses. So you have kama. So you want to enjoy food, then you make an offering and enjoy that. So that is dharma viruddha. But you simply want to enjoy and you want to drink and meet and eat and whatever, So that is against. So that will bring your fall down.
So whatever normal kama can become aligned with dharma if we use our intelligence.
Yes. So there are two ways. One is if you are following path of bhakti, then it has to be related with Krishna. If you are following varnashrama, then you have to follow the principles given in the varnashrama according to the Smriti Shastra. Because they also allow kama. Pravritti esha bhuta nam nivrittistu mahaphala. Manusmriti says. So pravritti is there, although he says that superior to pravritti is nivritti. But he allows pravritti. So if a grihastha is there, then certain things are allowed. If you are sannyasi, they are not allowed. That is the meaning of dharma, viruddha or aviruddha. Okay.
Thank you, Babaji.
Yes.
Thank you, Babaji.
One more question coming.
It's about the animals, because you said that humans are worse than animals because animals they have a fixed amount of ability to suffer or enjoy, no? And then the humans they go out of that limit. So then I'm just wondering about from the karma point of view, because also then the capacity to enjoy or to suffer in one sense is also fixed in humans also. This is the question actually.
What is the question?
Because seems that there is no limit.
Yeah, limit means that obviously you are limited, your material body is limited, but not like animals. Animals have fixed, if cow is vegetarian, it's vegetarian only, but human beings, what are they?
They can eat everything.
Right? And then you got corona.
Okay.
So this is the meaning. You're not satisfied. All right.